Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into this fascinating look at how we measure our own lives. Because whether we want to admit it or not, we live in this highly quantified world where literally every single step we take, every like we get, and every dollar we make is relentlessly tracked and compared. And honestly, it's completely burning us out. We've kind of developed this obsession with treating our lives like a giant competitive sport. So today, we're going to unpack exactly how this constant measuring is quietly messing with our minds, reshaping our identities, and fundamentally altering our sense of self-worth.
Picture this scenario for a second, because I'm sure it's going to sound familiar. You've just had a truly brutal day. You're exhausted, maybe you're feeling a bit uncertain about your career, or you're just sitting there wondering if you're actually doing enough with your life. And in that moment, what do we all do? We reach for our phone for a quick, innocent 5-minute scroll, which, let's be real, almost always spirals into 45 minutes of pure doom scrolling.
So that brings us to section 1, the 5-minute scroll, shrinking perceptions. As you scroll, this absolute cascade of information hits you, right? Bam, a high school friend is posting pristine beach photos from Bali. You swipe. A former colleague is dropping a humble brag essay about an amazing new job. Swipe again. Someone got a massive scholarship, another friend is getting married, and someone else is launching a wildly successful startup. It all hits you at once. And you know what? Our brains literally aren't built to process this density of other people's milestones. It creates this optical illusion that absolutely everyone else has the whole life thing perfectly figured out.
Then you finally put the phone down, and suddenly your own life feels incredibly small. But think about it. Absolutely nothing about your actual physical reality changed in those 5 minutes. You're sitting in the exact same room with the exact same opportunities you had before you picked up the device. Nothing changed, but your perception of your own inadequacy absolutely skyrocketed. And that, right there, is the trap.
Now, psychologists actually have a term for what you're experiencing: social comparison. And it's crucial to understand that human beings naturally compare themselves to others to figure out where they fit in. Historically, that was completely hardwired into us for survival. If you knew where you stood in the tribe, you were safer. But social media, it took that natural evolutionary impulse and made it constant, inescapable, and highly selective. We aren't just looking at the 5 people in our immediate village anymore. We're comparing ourselves to the top 1% of moments from thousands of people all over the globe.
The fundamental error we make during that scroll is actively comparing our messy, chaotic behind-the-scenes reality. You know, the daily doubts, the rejections, the mornings we literally can't drag ourselves out of bed, with everyone else's shiny, curated highlight reel. We see their wins and celebrations, but we are completely blind to the massive anxiety they felt before launching that business or the arguments they had before taking that perfect wedding photo. It's a completely rigged game, yet we willingly play it every single day, grading ourselves against a fictional standard.
Let's look at section 2, life as a scoreboard, the metrics of worth.
This daily scrolling habit pulls us into a much broader, much more dangerous societal issue, which is treating life as a literal scoreboard. Just look at the metrics we use. Marks in school tell us our baseline potential. Followers tell us how visible we are. Likes are basically just these little digital dopamine hits validating that we matter. And job titles? They dictate our rank in the adult world. Without even realizing it, we've turned our entire existence into a giant spreadsheet of data points. We end up optimizing our days just to pump up these numbers, entirely losing the plot on what actually makes life fulfilling.
And that perfectly sets up this incredibly powerful quote from our sources. The problem is not comparison itself. The problem is when comparison becomes the primary way we evaluate our own worth. This really hits the nail on the head. It's the exact moment a natural human tendency turns toxic. Because when the scoreboard is the only thing that matters, we completely lose sight of our intrinsic value. A human being's worth just cannot be captured in a follower count.
Moving right along to section 3, achievement as identity, tracing the roots. You see, social media didn't actually invent this problem. It just poured gasoline on it. The conditioning starts way earlier, right in childhood. It starts with marks in school. Get a good score, you get praise. Get a low score, you see visible disappointment from adults. And this exact pattern just seamlessly rolls right into adulthood. Late teens, it's the college admissions pressure cooker. 20s, the frantic race for internships, jobs, and promotions. 30s and beyond, we rigidly measure ourselves by salaries. The metrics change as we age, but the scoreboard, that stays exactly the same. We're trained from day one to chase external grades.
Because of this lifelong conditioning, our performance slowly and dangerously gets tangled up with our core identity. Notice this subtle cognitive shift. Instead of looking at a bad grade and objectively thinking, hey, I didn't perform well on this specific exam because I didn't study the right stuff, we turn it completely inward. We start thinking, maybe I'm just not intelligent enough. Actually, scratch that, it's worse. We take a temporary, external outcome and internalize it as a permanent character flaw. And as we get older, that internal monologue gets so much heavier. Instead of just stating the fact, I didn't get selected for this job, it morphs into a sweeping indictment of our value. Maybe I'm not good enough. This shift proves we aren't just measuring our tasks anymore, we're literally measuring our fundamental right to take up space in the world. We're asking an algorithm or a recruiter for permission to feel valuable.
Which brings us to Section 4, Contingent Self-Worth, the exhaustion of proving ourselves.
Psychologists have a specific term for the profound exhaustion this causes: contingent self-worth. It means your baseline sense of value isn't a given. It hinges completely on hitting that next goal, getting the next promotion, or securing the next round of applause. You miss out on a promotion? Boom! Your self-esteem instantly plummets. You're only ever as good as your latest achievement. It's like being stuck on a treadmill where the speed just keeps increasing and there's absolutely no off button where you can finally say, okay, I've done enough.
When you're trapped in this cycle of contingent self-worth, your whole decision-making process flips. We stop asking the internal questions that actually matter, like, is this meaningful to me? Does this bring me joy? Instead, we replace it with this exhausting external anxiety. Will this make me look successful to everyone else on the scoreboard? Constantly optimizing your life, your career, your car, your vacations, just to look good to outsiders, that means you effectively become a PR manager for a life you aren't even fully enjoying.
So I'll leave you with this to ponder. Strip away the followers, the job titles, the salaries, the whole shebang. Ask yourself, who am I when I am not achieving, performing, or being noticed? I highly encourage you to really chew on that question the next time you put your phone down after a 5-minute scroll. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer today, and I hope this helps you look at your own scoreboard just a little differently.